Virgo, this is your February 2022 soul story. This month you may feel at times that you don't have the emotional bandwidth, but I promise you that you have the capacity to be able to take this on. You're forgetting the upgrades that have just taken place for you. This is Romy. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to the channel. We're going to give you some astrological dates and talk about the energy conversation that's playing out and how we can help you through these intuitive messages to move through the next few weeks. So we're opening up February with the energy of the Knight of Pentacles, exactly what you need. It's this deliberate, intentional, consistent, brick by brick, step by step, breath by breath. Mars in Capricorn is really going to help facilitate this sense of being able to stay the course and really remain focused. And yes, at times it may feel like the burden or the distance from where you are to where you're trying to get to feels a little bit overwhelming. But there's something in you through the course of February that's just going to keep whispering, keep going. Now we've got a new moon coming in Aquarius on the 1st. It will happen on the 31st of January, depending on where you are in the world. And this new moon wants us to set those clear intentions. It's going to feel more like that fresh start that you really wanted for 2022. You're already starting to experience the new frequency, perhaps starting to consider what that means for you and some of the adjustments that you're trying to consider. This is a month where a little goes a long way. It may be a short month, but there's an awful lot that can take place. And so that deliberateness and intentionality really from the get-go is very, very important because the upgrades are happening at warp speed now. There are several really auspicious days that I want you to keep tuned into for February. We are looking at the 2nd and the 22nd as we activate the 222 portal, and it really is going to help you with some important choices and decisions, mostly coming into a deeper sense of balance within yourself. But also we have coming in on the 4th, Mars sextile Jupiter and the Sun conjunct Saturn. Oh, you've got the star coming through, beautiful. Now you're working in 6th house, which you're the natural ruler for during Aquarius season. Rest, Virgo, is a conscious choice. It must not ever be the last resort or the thing that gets left to last on the list. You've got to take care of yourself. There is hope, healing and rejuvenation energy coming in here. I really like the Knight of Pentacles combined with the star, because it tells me that not only are you going to manage to keep going, but you're doing it in the right way. And the sustainability of taking care of your health and well-being and having like a sacred ritual and devoted practice to kind of everything that you're showing up to this month is going to make an enormous difference to how you experience things. And for those moments where you feel like you literally don't have the bandwidth for something, you're going to be able to kind of channel almost and start to receive energy from source that's going to give you that sense of really spiritual divine intervention is what I want to say, knowing that you're on the right track and perhaps giving you the signs that you need just at the right moment that you need them. Now on the same day as the new moon, we've also got the asteroid goddess Juno shifting into the sign of Aquarius. The star links into that sign as well. Now Juno rules marriage and partnerships, and here in Aquarius we want to find an opportunity for a greater degree of personal freedom within the context of those connections. And so expect there to be negotiations taking place professionally, personally, romantically, with the view that you are coming from a place that says, I want to feel more like me, I want to be more authentic to my dreams and desires, and I feel like I need more space. It's not to say I don't want to be with you, it's just that we need to operate this in perhaps a slightly more unconventional way in order for it to continue to flourish. Now we have Venus now direct from her rebirth, and from this you will have really come to understand the phrase your self-worth equals your net worth, because from this experience in the last few weeks, both with your money story and how it played out for you in terms of the way in which you value yourself, There's now an opportunity to make improved choices around nourishing yourself, being that self-parent, mother archetype energy coming in with the Empress here. And in those more decisive, deliberate choices to put your self-care first, to love yourself more than you ever have, you're actually going to start to see more direct correlation to your bank balance, to your abundance, to opportunities. Now, we talked about this last month, how there were going to be multiple things showing up for you. There's a continuation of that energy. And what I want you to really feel into is the inevitability of that, Virgo. In fact, I really want you to use that word as being an important magnet, if you like. It is inevitable that you will reach a point of greater abundance and well-being. It is inevitable that success will come your way. Yes, it's also inevitable that there will be setbacks, there will be an ebb and flow, a rising and a falling. But you can really cherish this expansion and take up the full space of that. Embodying everything that you're going through right now is going to make a huge difference through this month of February, because what happens then is you get to really see a very unfiltered, real perception of you and what's going on for you in your life. It also means that you can start having much more meaningful, truthful, honest conversations with people. Now, Mercury is going to go direct on the 3rd of the month, and as your natural ruler, both you and Gemini get hit a little bit harder when it goes retrograde. You know, it can really scramble our thought forms and feel very clouded by way of trying to make those important choices and decisions. So you may have felt a little bit of an unraveling during that time. There's a continuation of this unfiltered, unraveling, undoing in February, but I promise you it's to get you to a place where the adjustments that you make as a result of what you see, what you observe, what you feel and experience come in with a much better, stronger, firmer foundation for you. This is Mars in Capricorn helping you to take the inspired action, to put things in place that have much more of a sense of durability and really help you to keep going. Now, the Knight of Wands here is coming in with the fire and the spirit and the drive to make it happen. There may be something in terms of you wanting to get it out in the world. There may be launches happening. Remember, 6th house energy is about us being of service. So this is also perhaps for some of you, taking a leap of faith and putting yourself out there, or putting a new product or service. It may be shifts and changes in your job, or even potential relocations or travel that starts to come into discussions. Now, this particular depiction has the 2 figures and they're going in opposite directions here. You may feel a little bit scattered, like sometimes you're almost doing things back to front, and sometimes spirit may make you go all the way to the end before you have to come back to the beginning and figure out what the first steps looks like. So don't worry about the process. I just feel you're better like trying to trust in intuitively in the ways that you're being shown. But also I feel there may be, a fire energy, a Sagittarius, Leo or Aries that might be significant by way of helping you, I want to say, get back on track, or almost just remind you about something that you need to remember about yourself. Now, that can come in a multiple different ways. Hopefully it will come in on the positive, but it may also be that someone's behavior or actions is less than desirable and just reminds you, actually, that's not the direction I want to take. That's not the person I want to be. That's not the experience I want to participate in, and the seeking of this sense of deeper inner peace. And that star energy is really telling me that it's what you're craving through the course of February, to just give you that bandwidth to be able to focus on the things that are important. But we need to be mindful of the fact that peace isn't always a passive endeavor. It needs a consistent state of presence and a constant course correct to say, I need to make an adjustment, or I'm coming out of balance here, or I need to look at my vibration. And being aware of that in the 6th house is important, because you get to look at the details, and that's what you do so well. You, in your most beautiful Virgo way, like I said, this month you are going to be doing things brick by brick. And the vision has already been set. So the vision for the relationship you want to get back on track or take to the next level, the business or the job change or way that you want it to continue to grow, all of this has already been done. What Spirit is saying is now it's a time to put tangible effort and really start to unleash through the inspired action you know, the things that are going to help bring that to life and orchestrate like a completely new pathway to emerge. Now you have the energy of the Lovers right in the middle of your reading here, beneath the star, which is really beautiful, I think, for some of you that perhaps have gone through some tumultuous changes by way of relationships. There's more of a sense of coming back into a state of harmony. Now, you know, it may not be the experience for each and every one of you, but what we're showing here is if it's not coming back into harmony with the individual, it means that you will with yourself. So whatever decision has been made, it's about really a sense of acceptance, I think, coming in February. And acceptance, remember, Virgo, means that you're going to be free to move on, to move out, to move up, whatever that path is dictating. And, you know, in doing so, I want to remind you that, you know, the Lovers can bring in choices. And sometimes the choices that are presented to us by other people, we have to remember are coming at it from a perspective of, you know, what they're invested in. And so before you automatically, because it almost feels like there's an autopilot thing that's going on here, where, you know, someone says you have to decide X or Y, or now or then, or, you know, you have to come back to me with this. And it's like, is there a different choice to make here, is what I want to say to you. So if something arises through this month, personally or professionally, just pay attention to that. Now we have Ceres, the asteroid goddess, shifting into Gemini on the 8th of the month, and she aligns with the natural cycles of the earth and helps us to come into sync and rhythm with that. Now in Gemini, we're nurturing the higher mind. What this means is that we have an improved dialogue, and there's much more of a capacity for healing through our understanding of people's stories and our own. So in relation to the Lovers, in relation to specific connections, choices that are being presented, or the choice that you yourself feel you need to make that may be different, you know, all of this is coming from a lens of which, you know, goes back through years and years and years of conditioning, or situations that have unfolded for you, even past lives, ancestral influence. And so starting to kind of be more appreciative and aware of that can really help you to see why people are driven to do things in a certain way. And if you want to really start to combat the patterning of that, you know, take a breath and stand back and allow the exhale to give you a moment before you're impulsive, because that Knight of Wands can be a little impulsive. Now the thing is, if you do move on an impulsive way, because the figures are in opposite direction, it feels like you end up moving further away. If you can just relax into it and be steady in the pose here and in the stance, then you end up coming back closer together again. Okay, so keep that in mind. And again, this may be important for some of you romantically, but for others, this could be something going on with a family or a friendship or a social situation, and it has perhaps just represented a series of entangled, complicated, very complex dynamics that haven't been easy to resolve, is what I feel. But we do have the star like literally pouring, you know, white light, pouring healing down into the connection or to the choice that needs to be made. But again, remember, self-worth equals net worth, and that comes from a place of deeper self-love, all right? So wherever you're focused and however, you know, you're trying to bring more of that energy into your world, you need to keep a check on that. So we also have third asteroid goddess, Pallas Athena, shifting into Aries on the 14th. She's bringing us the wisdom, the strategy, the discernment, and the wise counsel in order to figure out how we're going to move forward. And here we end up with fast solutions, and there's quite a pioneering edge. Now your Five of Wands is bringing a bit of an edge. It feels a little bit dicey, or kind of almost just like I don't know, that there's quite a provocative energy is what I want to say with this Five of Wands. That's okay, because sometimes we need to kind of stir things up within ourselves to kind of get motivated. What we need to remember is what we're fueling our motivation with, okay? So sometimes we'll take, for example, the emotion of anger, and we'll say, okay, this can be really helpful because in this regard, this person has done this, or this event that I've been through is, you know, been a disappointment or a setback for me, so therefore I'm going to use this anger and I'm going to prove to them and I'm going to show them, and that's great for the short term. But when we're looking at more permanent solutions for you and your well-being, and we have this energy over all this month that I think is coming in a very unfiltered way, that's wanting to unravel things and is kind of the undoing of situations that have been predicated on this like really flimsy foundation, or fueled by an emotional energy that at some point is going to be exhausted and run out. So it can be very draining, and I think you're getting a real input from your guides to start to say, all right, where is this happening for me, and how can I start to rein it in? What do I need to shift or change within myself? So all of these asteroid goddess energies, remember, are really helping us to come to terms on a more personal level with the way in which we move through the world. And there is a goddess report that I create, which you will be able to find more details in the description, the comment section underneath, and you can see where they sit in your own personal natal chart if that's of interest. So we also have a full moon in Leo coming in this month, Virgo. That's happening on the 16th. Here we've got King of Wands, fire energy. And you may during this full moon just have the desire to want to turn the volume down. And that may be on a specific person, or a specific experience that's going on, and it might just feel a little bit overwhelming, it might feel a bit intense, might feel a little bit dramatic, may even be coming from this fire energy, or somebody that's coming in with a very heated, passionate deliverance of what they think or what they have to say or what they're wanting to express to you. It's not negative, but it just feels like I've got you kind of wanting some space or needing some time to just go away and kind of consider. And so it wouldn't surprise me if you get a little bit tetchy or a little bit snappy around that energy. At the same time though, I think it can be very illuminating for you. Remember, Leo is about 12th house energy, so there's a deep release and a soulful surrender that's required at this time for you. And what your guides are really saying is like, let it go. Let it go. And it doesn't mean to say that you're saying let it go, I don't want it in my life, but just let go of your attachment to whatever it is that's triggering you. But there's also some beautiful energy coming in by way of vision, creativity, and also being able to trust in your instincts. What I love where I look at the Knights and the King here is that there's something really real and tangible that you have the energy to drive forward and to see it through. So if you've been sitting on the fence for a while, or perhaps in the energy of a little bit of inertia, this is going to be a fabulous time to kind of get back on track. And even though we still have a little shadow energy from the Venus and Mercury, you are going to be much less clouded and have the opportunity to revisit negotiations and to start to put in place like bigger plans for yourself. There's something about much bigger plans for the future that you're almost starting to pre-pave now that I think are going to look and feel even more exciting for you in the coming weeks and months. Okay, so keep a check on that. And right after that full moon, we've got Jupiter sextile to Uranus, and there's a drive here for personal freedom and expansion, and it's really rich in the energy. So that's going to be a beautiful date to also keep an eye on. So when the sun shifts into Pisces, of course, it's that 7th house energy for you. So it's all coming into focus on the relationships. What's really good for Virgo is that this is also a time when we're free and clear of the shadow, and you're really starting to open up and get back on track. Here we've got the energy of the sun. So a lot more positivity and optimism coming through for you in terms of the way forward and what you feel within the heart space about what's unfolding around you. And even if you're going through some really difficult, tricky, heartbreaking or challenging situations, I still want to say to you that there's this hopeful energy about being able to move on or reconcile either your feelings or emotions, or come into a deeper place of acceptance so that you can make space for some of the beautiful things that are starting to show up and want to come in. The nice thing with 7th house is that the universe always starts to deliver people that are going to be supportive and helpful for you as well, across all areas. So that means if you're, looking to hire somebody new in your business, if you're needing, a new childminder, if you're seeking new friendships or want to connect with new groups, then this is always a time when like fated, serendipitous experiences can happen. And from a networking perspective, you're just a little bit more magnetic, and you can start to really come into union with people that are resonating, and with this new energy and new frequency that could feel really quite enriching for you, and start to give you the feel like actually like life is starting to open up in different sorts of ways for me. Now, it may not be in the ways you'd expected, is what I want to say, but it's certainly going to give you a lot of food for thought. And I suppose that's a good phrase really for you this month. Everything is food for thought. You don't need to rush. There's not a sense of like you're going to miss out on anything. But even though we say it's a very short month, there's a deep sense of knowing where you need to get to, what it's going to take to get you there, and trusting in your path. You've got to come from this place of faith and stay in that state of faith, and not come from an energy of fear, because anything fueled by fear is going to continuously feel uncomfortable for you and unnerving, and that's not supposed to be your experience. Now, the High Priestess also brings in the magnetism. So I'm going to say to you, with that Sun and the King of Wands, it also feels like there's a little bit of a Midas touch energy, which again bodes really well if you're wanting to present yourself in the best possible light to someone, or to a client base, or out to the world, and anything that you want to share. And I also think that, even though I see a little bit of argument, maybe something going on with either a female energy, mother figure, or perhaps a female boss, pay attention to that. That's also showing up a little bit for me. I also think that you can be wise in your counsel. You do know the truth, and remember, you have the capacity to turn the volume down, metaphorically. Sometimes it's better to take the higher ground. If you want to wade in and start fighting the fight, it's just going to exhaust you. And because of what their agenda is, I feel like the choice that they give you is not going to be the right one for you. So I kind of feel like I just want to distance myself a little bit, because you've got so many other generative, important, blossoming, expansive energies to work with and tap into this month. Don't get dragged in or dragged down by anything that feels like it's wanting to kind of corner you, is what I want to say. Okay, I'm just going to have a look at your oracle cards and see how they want to join this conversation. This is really a month, Virgo, where I feel like you've got to honour your dreams, and you honour your dreams by actually starting to do the work. That's 6th house. And you're not afraid of that. I think you're really in the right headspace. And if you don't feel that way at the beginning of the month, watch as the energies unfold. Be ecstatic. Beautiful. There's just this complete surrender and openness, and I like that she's also kind of it's almost like she's pulling apart her the energy center around her throat chakra. So there's this kind of, like I said, this unfiltered unraveling, undoing. It's like where you felt tightly bound, just watch and wait how the universe just puts you in a position where you have to open up, but it's going to be really cathartic and a beautiful release. And actually that sense of ecstatic energy is beautiful to work with. It's lovely kundalini. It feels like it's right coming up from the sacral. We've got all this fire showing, and so there's something that's going to start burning brightly. We've got a lot of fire energy coming through here, and Leo might be an important sign for you, aside from the full moon with just the sun and these fire signs coming in, or someone that's certainly expressing themselves with an awful lot of heart for you this month. But I like that for you. Okay, let's have a look at your astrology cards. Chiron. Oh, the wounded healer. Okay, so I suppose the triggering of stories is where I feel I want to focus. And sometimes in the unraveling, it can feel like the way that we are being potentially cornered into something, or how we feel we're being spoken to, or the choices we're being given, can kind of go really deep into those parts of ourselves that we want to kind of keep hidden, or where we've continued to self-abandon. But remember what I said, this is a month when you're going to be facing things that you've never felt ready or willing to in the past. And so the truth of that really brings these difficult conversations and sensitive subjects out into the light, and there's a beautiful sense of healing that can come through with that as well. I feel as well that the kind of, it's almost like the ecstasy and the ache. I think I did that in one of my Soul Musings posts, and I suppose it's a little bit true to say that of everything that we're experiencing right now. You know, there is so much beauty and bliss and amazing expansion, but there's also so much wound and pain that we're dealing with on a collective basis, but, you know, of course, individually and personally. And so the capacity, I suppose I want to go back to that, the emotional bandwidth that you feel you don't have is not the reality. Actually, you're being given the capacity to hold space for those wounds to come to the surface so that they can be healed, at the same time as tap into some of this much more optimistic, expansive, even euphoric experience that wants to make itself known to you. Okay, your animal totem this month, Virgo, is the giraffe spirit. See the bigger picture. And the giraffe obviously has the elevated position with that long neck, being up high and being able to see out onto the plains. And so there's something important here. But also I love the giraffe for just the quirkiness and the difference, and sort of, especially in Aquarius energy, really owning what it is about you, within you, that is ready to be expressed. Like it's shown here in your oracle card, and that, you know, in that vulnerability of actually opening up and being authentic for your differences is really helping you to get a greater degree of understanding about your own journey right now. And February can be a really beautiful gateway to a deeper sense of understanding for you in that way, and therefore an improvement in your relationships, because people start to see more of the real you or understand you in new ways. Okay, so this is a general reading for February. You can find all the decks I use, by the way, in the description comment section underneath. And I'm just going to invite you to think about a personal question we might not have covered in the main spread. Pull a couple of cards for you here. If you're new to the channel, we are going to cover these off in the extended reading. That is a way to support my channel so I can keep showing up with all the free content, and also for you to get another 20 minutes or so of deeper insights into your month ahead. So we're just going to clarify the Knight of Pentacles, and we have the Six of Swords. Also got the Emperor energy coming in. So a sense of real masterful control and movement, which I really like. The Star is coming in with Judgment, the Moon, there's the Hangman, King of Swords, Queen of Pentacles here. Another fire energy showing up there. Oh, beautiful. Ace of Cups and the Lovers for you this month, Virgo. And the Tower. Although I'm not too concerned about it. I feel like that Tower is the kind of the revolution of it, rather than the kind of mass upheaval and uncomfortable sort of breaking down. But sometimes, you know, we do need that breaking down. I suppose it's a bit like that unraveling and the undoing, but we'll talk about that in the extended, see what more we can come up with here. Wheel of Fortune, Page of Swords here. And you've got another Knight of Pentacles. The World. Another Star. Look at that, the Sun and the Star. That's a beautiful combination coming in. just to balance it out a little bit there. Nine of Swords, okay. Change is uncomfortable, isn't it? Seven of Pentacles and the Empress. Okay, it's just a couple more here. Oh, Two Cups. And finally, Chiron, Oh, Ace of Wands, nice. Thank you so much, Virgo. Okay, I'm going to say beautiful blessings for this month ahead. Can't wait to join you on the extended if you decide to. Be sure to subscribe, drop me a like and a comment. It really helps to support my work and I'm very, very grateful. And if it has resonated, I appreciate you also investing in the extended. You take good care and I'll see you again real soon.